Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Daddy Cliff here. In today's video we are going to look at an exciting opportunity to do either a bachelor's degree, a master or a PhD in Canada, and this is going to be at University of Victoria. They have an entrance scholarship for those who want to do a bachelor's degree. They equally have an entrance scholarship or award for those who want to do a master or a PhD in that same university. And then they also have teaching and research assistance for those who want to do a master or a PhD in University of Victoria, and they equally have things like bursaries and working on campus means of getting funds to fund your education while studying in that university. But first, before we get into the details of that scholarship on my computer, if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? People are getting scholarships to study in other parts of the world on this channel. You might want to join the race by clicking on that subscribe button so that whenever there are opportunities like this, you will be notified by turning on the notification button as well. Without taking too much of your time, let's get to the computer and look at the details of this scholarship. Okay guys, this is the website of University of Victoria in Canada, and we will be looking first at the language proficiency because it is very important when applying to any university around the world, because they always want us to provide a valid English language test score. For example, they want us to provide TOEFL, IELTS or any other one. But the advantage with this university is that they say English is your primary language, and then you have spent the last 3 years before coming to the university in an English-speaking country. If you can prove that you've lived in an English-speaking country, it will be of advantage to you. And then they say you had your degree in a designated English-speaking country. Now let's look at the designated countries. You will find Anguilla here, you have Gambia, Ghana, there is Liberia, there is Namibia, Mauritius, and then you have Nigeria as well, and a host of other countries. You have to just go through the list of countries and make sure that your country is on the list of countries that have been exempted from an English proficiency test score. If you're not from one of those countries and then maybe you fulfill some of the other requirements, they say you have a degree from a recognized institution at which the language of instruction is English. If you had a degree from a university that uses English as their medium of instruction, you can provide a document to prove that, or you would have to probably write one of the English tests like I mentioned before. You should go through this page and make sure you're used to the information here. Now let's begin by looking at undergraduate studies. This is the information that will be important for undergraduate studies. You can begin by looking at the programs that are available for undergraduate. You would select interest or program first, and then select the degree. If you want to do a diploma or any of this one, you can choose them, and then these are the programs that are available for undergraduate degree. It is important that you click and look at the details because some programs have online, like you can do the degree online, and some will be for on campus, as you can find it here. And then it says full-time study and part-time study option. So when you're applying, make sure you look into that details. And then you have your career option, and then these are like the sample courses for your first year of study. It is important that you look at the details. I'm not going to go into the details of this. You have the English proficiency requirement. We've already talked about that. So it is important that you look at the degree requirements when applying for any program. Now let's look at how to apply for an undergraduate degree. The first thing is that you have to choose your program. We already talked about how to go about choosing your program. Next thing is that you should make sure you would have to submit the hard copy and even the soft copy, like online application, and pay the application fee. But make sure you look at the deadlines. The deadlines are different depending on the program, so you have to take into account all of that. They have September entry, they have January entry, and then they have summer entry. You should look at the deadlines and prepare your documents for application by respecting the deadlines to make sure you're within the deadline. Unfortunately, there is an application fee, and then for you to apply, know that you have to create a NetLink ID before you apply, and then you have to make sure you check the application checklist, and then you have to equally submit your grade. You would have to accept the offer, because once they've reviewed the documents, they would have to decide on giving you the admission. When they've given you admission, you would have to confirm that you've accepted the admission, and then you pay an acceptance deposit for those who would not have a scholarship. If you don't get a scholarship, know that you pay an acceptance deposit. Now let's look at the scholarship. Like I said, there are many different types of scholarship, but you have to make sure you go and look for entrance scholarship for international students, and then there are bursaries as well. So let's click at entrance scholarship for international students, and then you have eligibility requirements here. You have to look at the eligibility requirement. They say international students must be admitted to the University of Victoria before being considered for an entrance scholarship. Eligible candidates are automatically referred to student awards and financial aid by graduate admission, which means once they have reviewed your documents, if they feel like your grades are outstanding, they will then submit your file to the Student Award and Financial Aid for them to consider you for a scholarship. So you have to make sure that when applying, you really have good grades, and then make sure you also respect this information. Here it is talking about transcript. For example, if you are still attending high school, you would have to provide an interim transcript. If you have already graduated, then you would have to provide the final transcript. And if you've not been studying after graduation from high school, you would have to send a transcript that is within 2 years old. It should not be more than 2 years old, the transcript. And make sure that the document should get to them by the 15th of March so that you will be accessed for the international scholarship. Like I said, eligible candidates are automatically considered or referred to the awards and financial aid for undergraduate admission. So you have other scholarships opportunities here that you would explore on your own. Let's go now and look at graduate, that's masters and PhD. For the master and PhD, also note that the language requirements are the same. It is the same, like I mentioned before, and then the countries are equally the same. If you come from the designated countries, it is okay, you can apply without any English proficiency. Now let's look at the degree programs that are available for master and PhD. On this page you have graduate programs. You would have to click on program and then choose either master, and then it will come out here. You would see the M has become bold, and these are the master's degree program. Basically, if you see here master and PhD, it means they do provide earth and ocean science at both the masters and PhD. And then here it says French and Francophone studies. They do provide it only at the master's level, they don't have it at PhD. And then geography, they do offer it at masters and PhD. So you have to make sure you look at it that way. Some programs are available only for masters and they are not available for PhD. Some are available for both. So you have to choose one program. For example, let's say you want to do a master's degree in civil engineering. You click on that and then you look at the condition for application. They've said here degree program is offered at masters and PhD, and you have the number of years here, 2 years, 3 years. Project thesis years, it is not course based, which means you have to do a lot of research. Most of the universities in Canada are focused mainly in research. That's why you have teaching assistants. Now let's get into funding, because that's where we are more interested at. When studying, you need to know the funding. You need to know the source of funding. Now, the source of funding for masters and PhD, they say every year University of Victoria awards $12 million to help fund graduates through a combination of University of Victoria fellowship and awards. And then they have teaching assistant, which means you will help your professor in either teaching undergraduate students, or if you are at the level of PhD, you can help him teach bachelor's degree and master degree students. This is preparing you for the future, because like I said, it is very common in the United States and Canada. Most of the degree programs at the master's level are mostly teaching assistants and research, which means you would have to teach and do a lot of research. So you can have funding from teaching assistants like I talked about, and then you can equally have funding from research. When you do research, you do a lot of publications, you write a lot of theses, and then you would probably have to go and present those research findings in conferences. All of those things will be financed by the university. When they finance it, that's another means of you getting money for your studies. You move around doing research under the finances of the university. So they say most of our students also receive external awards and scholarship and financial aid, as well as bursary. Like I said, you have the University of Victoria awards and scholarship. The total sum for fellowship is up to $17,500 per year for master's degree, and then $20,000 per year for PhD. There is also the graduate awards. Remember, I said there are two types of award: fellowship award and graduate award. The graduate award is up to $10,000 per year for master and PhD. You need to read all of this information. These are the eligibility conditions for you to be considered for any of the fellowship or graduate award. They say domestic and international students are considered equally for funding, and then they say you need an A average on your last 2 years of coursework. This average does not guarantee that you will receive an award though, but you will need it for you to be considered. So you need to read all of this. Here they've said you are automatically considered for this award by your academic units when you apply for admission. So know that when applying for admission, once you fulfill any of these conditions here, you will be automatically considered. It is very important that you know that. They equally have other external awards and fellowship. Here they've said there are a number of national and provincial granting agencies that fund graduate students and their research every year. Like I said, most of these universities are research oriented, and you have organizations that will want to fund things like cancer research, diseases that humans suffer from. They do put in a lot of money into these types of research. So if you are very much research oriented when applying for this scholarship, if you have things like articles, publications, thesis that you've researched a lot on and wrote those types of documents, they will really help in your application. They say here you will need to apply for each external award and fellowship separately. Each competition is unique, so be sure to read every application carefully. So these are other funding opportunities that you can take advantage of. There is also bursaries. We offer non-repayable bursaries. So even if they give you bursaries, you don't have to repay it. You can read the conditions for you to be eligible for the bursary. Now, teaching assistants and research, like I said, you will teach and then do a lot of research. They say here, every year we employ many graduate students to assist with teaching, research, and lab instructions. Like I said, you will teach and then you will do a lot of research in the lab. Teaching assistants are hired by their academic units to assist with teaching and grading courses. Those are unionized hourly positions, so they have specific number of hours that you must do. It's automatic. And then research assistants are hired by faculty members to help with research. These roles are sometimes called scientific assistants or laboratory instructors. Research assistant salaries come from faculty members' research grants. Because of this, research assistant hours and salary and other details are worked out between you and faculty members. You have to talk with your supervisor and the faculty members. You can negotiate the amount of money that they will pay, and then you have work and study. There are other work and study programs that you can click here and know the details by yourself. Now let's look at how to apply. The process is equally the same, just like for undergraduate. You have to choose your program. We already looked at it. When you click on explore, it will take you to this page where you select program, and then if you want to take doctorate, and then doctorate programs will be highlighted, and then you can select your doctorate program. You have neuroscience. You have to go inside and look at the details. If possible, click and look at the details. Know if it's on campus, because some are online, like I said. And then you equally have to find a supervisor. This is very important. Finding a supervisor for any scholarship is very key. The supervisor will actually make it easy for you to get admission, easy for you to get funding. It will equally make it easy for you to get the visa to travel to that country. So the best way for you to start looking for any scholarship, be it in the United States or Canada, is for you to start contacting supervisors and professors. Start contacting supervisors or professors who will supervise you during your research or during your thesis. Once they would ask for certain documents like past publications that you've made, past thesis that you've written, and any other publications or maybe conferences that you've attended and your research findings. If you can provide them with those types of information that can convince them that you're very much research oriented, they will take your admission personally and make sure the university gives you the admission, the scholarship, and they would equally provide you with every necessary document that will make the visa process easy for you. I repeat, finding a supervisor is a key to any scholarship. I have other research scholarships in places like Australia and New Zealand. You have it on my channel. Most of the graduate programs programs in Australia and New Zealand are research scholarships. It is automatic and they pay you a lot of money for you to do those types of research programs. For you to have access to those type of programs or those types of scholarship, it is important for you to look for a supervisor. If you get a supervisor, like I said, it makes it way more easy for you. You will not have to provide things like financial statement or bank statement to prove that you have enough money to fund your studies in those countries. They will provide it for you. Next one is apply for admission. Like I said, you choose your program, you look for a supervisor, and then once you've had a supervisor, you can then apply for admission by uploading all the necessary documents online, and then you would equally have to pay the application fee. It is important for you to know that there is an application fee. You can click the apply now, start applying, and then there is a checklist. Shortly after you apply, we'll send you an email with your University of Victoria student number, followed by instructions on how to check your application status online. We'll contact you by email once admission decision has been made, and you'll be notified if anything further is required. Make sure you add this email as your safe senders list. Now, the next one is that once you've been granted admission, you would have to accept the offer. It is important to note that some universities will actually give you an offer for admission, but you would have to confirm the admission. If you don't confirm the admission after a certain period of time, they'll consider it that you're no longer interested in the offer for admission. So it is very important that you respond to every email that is sent to you. You can equally change your start date. All of this information is available on the website. You can read it. I'll provide a link to this website at the end of the video. That's it about applying to the University of Victoria in Canada. Take the opportunity, apply, and remember, if you know you've not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. There is a lot of energy going on the channel. I see a lot of people subscribing. Keep on subscribing. Let's hit 2,000 this month, and I know you are the next on the list for scholarship. Continue to follow the channel, subscribe if you've not yet subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.